Hello everyone, and welcome to this video. In this video, we'll be considering Bgcse Chemistry 2023 Paper 1. Notice that we have the cover page. It says Chemistry 2023 Bgcse National Examination. Let's begin. So question number 1 says that a mixture of water and sand needs to be separated and collected. Which method of separation is used to separate this mixture? So here we have a mixture of water and sand, and we want to separate them, right? So a mixture of water and sand needs to be separated and collected. So what method of separation are we going to use to separate this mixture of water and sand? So we have A, chromatography, B, crystallization, C, evaporation, or D, filtration. The correct answer is definitely going to be D, filtration, because filtration is used because sand is an insoluble solid in water. The sand is trapped by the filter paper. This is during filtration. So the sand is going to be trapped by the filter paper while the water passes through and is collected. So that's how that is the method of separation we're going to use to separate a mixture of water and sand. We're going to use filtration. So the correct answer is definitely D. Let's move on to question number 2, and it says, which gas is not found in clean air? Notice that not is in bold letters, so that is a keyword for us. So which gas is not found in clean air? So when you think about clean air, which one of these gases is not going to be found in clean air? That's what the question is asking us. So we have carbon dioxide, we have carbon monoxide, we have nitrogen, and we have oxygen. Which one of these gases is not found in clean air? The correct answer is carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide is not found in clean air. In clean air, you're going to find carbon dioxide, you're going to find nitrogen, and you're going to find oxygen, but you're not going to find carbon monoxide, not in clean air. So the correct answer is definitely going to be B, carbon monoxide, because clean air contains nitrogen, oxygen, and small amounts of carbon dioxide. Carbon monoxide is a poisonous gas produced by incomplete combustion and is not found in clean air. Okay, let's move on to question number 3, and it says, the following pieces of apparatus are used to conduct an experiment with magnesium metal and hydrochloric acid. So here we have 1, we have 2, we have 3, and we have 4. Which apparatus is used to measure the volume of the gas produced and the acid used? Is it 1 and 3, 2 and 3, 2 and 4, and 3 and 4? So they're asking us which apparatus we're going to use to do, number 1, measure the volume of the gas produced, and 2, measure the volume. We need the apparatus that's going to be used to measure the volume of gas produced and the volume of the acid used. So the correct answer is definitely going to be B, 2 and 3. So 2, the same instrument here, or this we could say the same apparatus here, that is a gas syringe. And we're going to use that to measure the volume of gas produced. So that's 2. But we also need to measure the volume of acid used. And for that, we're going to use the measuring cylinder. And the measuring cylinder is 3. So 3 is a measuring cylinder, and we're going to use that to measure the volume of acid used. So the correct answer is definitely going to be B, 2 and 3. Let's move on to question number 4, and it says, compound Z has a melting point of 82 degrees Celsius and a boiling point of 105 degrees Celsius. Which statement is true about compound Z? Is it A, it is a liquid at 41 degrees Celsius and a gas at 100 degrees Celsius? It is a liquid at 78 degrees Celsius and a gas at 110 degrees Celsius? It is a liquid at 83 degrees Celsius and a gas at 94 degrees Celsius? Or D, it is a liquid at 91 degrees Celsius and a gas at 115 degrees Celsius? The correct answer is definitely going to be D. It is a liquid at 91 degrees Celsius and a gas at 115 degrees Celsius. Now, why, you may ask? Well, compound Z is a liquid at 91 degrees Celsius because the temperature is between its melting point, which is 82 degrees Celsius, and the boiling point, which is 105 degrees Celsius. So we have this temperature that is between the melting point and the boiling point. So that means that it's going to be a liquid at 91 degrees Celsius. Now, it says on a gas at 115 degrees Celsius. Why do we know that's a gas at 115 degrees Celsius? It's a gas at 115 degrees Celsius because this temperature is above the melting point. So we're talking about a temperature that's above the melting point. So that means that it's going to change state from liquid to gas. So the correct answer is going to be D. It's going to be a liquid at 91 degrees Celsius because that's between the melting point and the boiling point. And it's going to be a gas at 115 degrees Celsius because that temperature is above the boiling point. All right. So hopefully I said that right. It's going to be a liquid at 91 degrees Celsius because it's between the 91 degrees Celsius is between the melting point and the boiling point. And it's going to be a gas at 115 degrees Celsius because its temperature is above the boiling point. All right. So let's move on to question number 5. And question number 5 says, which substance has the most kinetic energy? Is it A, alcohol, B, ice, C, steam, or D, water? Which substance has the most kinetic energy? The answer here is definitely going to be C, steam. Steam has the most kinetic energy because particles in a gas, so when we're talking about steam, we're talking about gas, right? So steam has the most kinetic energy because particles in a gas move faster than those in liquids and solids. So definitely steam is going to have the most kinetic energy. Let's move on to question number 6, and it says two gas jars contain air and bromine. The gas jars are connected and the glass slide is removed. The behavior of the gas particles is shown in diagram 2. Which process occurs in diagram 2? So we have diagram 1, we have air, we have glass slide, we have bromine vapor, and this is diagram 1. And here we have a mixture of air and bromine. This is diagram 2. So what process occurs in diagram 2? Is it boiling, condensation, diffusion, or oxidation? So they're trying to figure out which process is going to happen in diagram 2. The correct answer is definitely going to be C, diffusion. And how do we know that's diffusion? Because diffusion occurs because bromine gas particles spread. They're going to spread from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration until they mix evenly with air. So the correct answer is definitely going to be diffusion. The bromine gas particles are going to spread. They're going to spread out. All right, so let's move on to question number 7. And it says, which ion gains electrons to have the same number of electrons as a neon atom? Is it A, calcium, B, magnesium, C, oxygen, or D, sulfur? Which ion gains electrons to have the same number of electrons as a neon atom? Is it calcium, magnesium, oxygen, or sulfur? The correct answer is definitely going to be C, oxygen, because oxygen gains 2 electrons to form the oxide ion, which has 10 electrons, the same number of electrons as a neon atom. So a neon atom has 10 electrons. Oxygen gains 2 electrons to form oxide ion, and then it's going to have 10 electrons. It's the same amount of electrons as the neon atom. Let's move on to question number 8, and it says X and Y represent 2 atoms. So we have X, we have 6 here, we have 17 here, and we have Y, and we have 6 here, and we have 18 here. Which statement is true about atoms X and Y? Is it A, they are different elements because they have different atomic numbers? B, they are different elements because they have different mass numbers? C, they are isotopes because they have different atomic numbers? Or D, they are isotopes because they have different mass numbers? The correct answer is definitely going to be D. They are isotopes because they have different mass numbers. Because if you look carefully, they are isotopes because they have the same atomic number. So both of them have the same number of protons, which is 6. So both of them have the same number of protons, which is 6, but they have different mass numbers. The mass number for X is 17, and the mass number for Y is 18. So they have the same atomic number, meaning they have the same number of protons, but they have different mass numbers. So the correct answer is definitely going to be D. They are isotopes because they have different mass numbers. Let's move on to question number 9. And question number 9 says, which statement is true about atoms? Is it A, atoms have a neutral charge? B, is it A, atoms have a neutral charge? B, neutrons are positively charged? C, the atomic mass represents the number of electrons? Or D, the number of electrons and neutrons are equal? The correct answer is definitely going to be A, atoms have a neutral charge, because atoms have a neutral charge because they contain equal number of positively charged protons and negatively charged electrons. So atoms have the same number of protons and the same number of electrons. And so that means that the atom's overall charge is going to be a neutral charge. Let's move on to question number 10. And question number 10 says, a compound with the formula TF2 has a relative atomic mass of 47. What is element T? Is it A, beryllium? Is it A, beryllium? B, calcium? C, magnesium? Or D, strontium? So the correct answer is definitely going to be A, because they're asking us what is element T. And if we look carefully, fluorine has a relative atomic mass of 19. And how many fluorine atoms do we have? Well, we have 2, so because it's F sub 2. So since we have 2 fluorine atoms, we're going to say 2 times 19, and 2 times 19 is 38. So what we need to do is we need to take this 38 and subtract it with 47, because 47 is the relative atomic mass of this particular compound. So subtracting, we're going to subtract 38 and 47. So subtracting this from the total mass gives 47 minus 38, which gives us 9. And 9 matches the relative atomic mass of beryllium. So 9 is the relative atomic mass of beryllium. Therefore, T is beryllium. So the correct answer is definitely going to be beryllium. So T is beryllium. So if you add 9 plus 38, you're going to get 38. So you have 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47. So 38 plus 9 gives us 47. So the correct answer is definitely going to be A, beryllium. Let's move on to question number 11, and it says the table shows information about 4 elements in the periodic table. The letters do not represent symbols of elements. Use the table to answer questions 11 and 12. So we're going to use the same table to answer questions 11 and 12. So we have elements, number of protons, and mass number. For this one, the element is P. The number of protons is 3. The mass number is 7. For this one, the element is Q. The number of protons is 16. And the mass number is 32. For R, the element, well, for this one, the element is R. The number of protons is 8, and the mass number is 16. And finally, for S, the number of protons is 19, and the mass number is 39. Which element is located in period 2 group? This is V1, which is basically going to be 5. So this is going to be 6. So which element is located in period 2 group 6? Because V is 5 and 1 is 1. So this I is 1. So 5 plus 1 is going to give us 6. So which element is located in period 2 and group 6? Is it P, Q, R, and S? The correct answer is definitely going to be R, because how many protons does R have? Well, R has 8 protons. So which element do you know that have 8 protons? Again, which element do you know that have 8 protons? Yes, it's definitely going to be oxygen, because element R has 8 protons, which means it is oxygen. Oxygen is in period 2, and it is also in group 6, sometimes refers to as group 16. Therefore, element R is located in period 2, group 6, because we're talking about oxygen. Okay, let's move on to number 12, and it says, which 2 elements combine with each other to form a covalent bond or covalent compound? Again, which 2 elements combine with each other to form a covalent compound? Is it A, P, and Q, B, P, and S, C, Q, and R, or D, R, and S? Again, we want to form a covalent compound. Covalent compounds, the correct answer is definitely going to be C, Q, and R, right? Because when we combine Q and R, we're going to get a covalent compound. But how do we know? Well, Q has 16 protons. If you look here, Q has 16 protons. And that means it's going to be in group 6. Like I said, sometimes it's called group 16, right? So that means that we have Q, which is in group 6, and we also have R, which is in group 6. So element Q has 16 protons, placing it in group 6, or we say group 16. And element R has 8 protons, also placing it in group 6, or sometimes referred to as group 16. Elements in group 6 are non-metals. So that means that both element Q and element R, they are non-metals. So since both are non-metals, they bond by sharing electrons to form a covalent compound. So the correct answer is definitely going to be Q and R. They are in the same group. They both are non-metals. You bring them together and you can form a covalent compound. Let's move on to question number 13, and it says, what is the empirical formula for the molecular formula C6H14? Again, what is the empirical formula for the molecular formula C6H14? Is it A, CH2, B, CH3, C, CH3H7, or D, C6H14? The correct answer is definitely going to be C3H7. And we know that because what we could do is we have the molecular formula C6H14. We find the highest common, we find the highest common factor of 6 and 14. What is the highest common factor of 6 and 14? The answer is 2. 2 could go into both of these numbers without leaving a remainder. So 6 divided by 2, well, 6 divided by 2 is 3. Again, 6 divided by 2 is 3. So we have 3 here. And then 14 divided by 2, well, 14 divided by 2 is 7. So it's going to be C3H7. 3 and 7, they can't go lower anymore. So it's going to be C3H7. So we find the highest common factor of 6 and 14, which is 2. Then divide both subscripts by 2. This gives C6 divided by 2 equals C3. And H14 divided by 2 gives us H7. So the empirical formula is C3H7. Okay, so the correct answer is going to be C. That's C. Number 13 is C. Let's move on to question number 14. And for question number 14, we're going to be using this particular table. And not just for question 14, but also for question 15. So question 14 and 15, we use this table. Use the table of substances and their pH values to answer questions 14 and 15. So with the substance, and we have the pH value. Battery acid has 0 pH value. Black coffee has a pH value of 5. Hand soap has a pH value of 10. Stomach acid has a pH value of 2. Which substance is the most acidic? Most acidic. The correct answer is definitely going to be A, because A is referring to the battery acid. And the battery acid, the pH is 0. All right. So battery acid is the most acidic because it has the lowest pH value, which is 0. And the lowest pH value means it's going to have the lowest pH value means that it's going to be the most acidic. And so that's going to be 0. So battery acid is 0. It's more acidic than stomach acid. Let's move on to number 15. Ammonium hydroxide is an alkaline solution. Which substance has a pH value very close to ammonium hydroxide? Again, which substance has a pH value very close to ammonium hydroxide? Well, the correct answer is definitely going to be C, because hand soap has a pH of 10, which is close to ammonium hydroxide, since both are alkaline solutions. So that means the correct answer is definitely going to be C. C, which is hand soap, has a pH value that is close to ammonium hydroxide. The correct answer is definitely going to be C. Let's move on to question number 16. And for question number 16, we're looking at a different question. So for question number 16, it says, which salt remains when a solution of H2SO4 is reacted with a solution of CaOH2? So which salt remains when a solution of H2SO4 is reacted with a solution of CaOH2? Is it A, carbon hydroxide, B, calcium sulfate, C, calcium sulfide, or D, calcium sulfite? But the correct answer is definitely going to be B, calcium sulfate. Calcium sulfate is formed because sulfuric acid reacts with calcium hydroxide in a neutralization reaction to produce calcium sulfate and water. So let's look at a balanced equation that's going to help us, right? So we have what we have here. We have H2SO4 plus CaOH2, right? So we have this, and that's going to give us calcium sulfate, CaSO4 plus water. And so that means that what we're going to get is we're going to get calcium sulfate. That's the correct answer, B, calcium sulfate. That is going to be the salt that remains when a solution of H2SO4 is reacted in a solution with a solution of CaOH2. The correct answer is definitely going to be B. Let's move on to question number 17, and it says, which metal is not used for electroplating by an aqueous solution? Keyword here is not, so not is in bold. Is it going to be chromium? Is it going to be copper? Is it going to be silver? Or is it going to be sodium? Which metal is not used for electroplating by using an aqueous solution? The correct answer is definitely going to be D, sodium, because they say which metal is not used for electroplating. Sodium is too reactive and cannot be electroplated from an aqueous solution because hydrogen is discharged instead. So sodium is too reactive, and so we cannot use it. So sodium is too reactive and cannot be electroplated from an aqueous solution because hydrogen is discharged instead. So the correct answer is definitely going to be D, sodium, because they say which metal is not used for electroplating. Let's move on to question number 18, and it says, which ion produces a blue-green flame in a flame test? Is it Ba2+, Cu2+, K+, or Na+? Correct answer here is definitely going to be B, Cu2+, because they're asking us which produces a blue-green flame in a flame test. Copper-2 ions produce a blue-green flame in a flame test. Again, copper-2 ions produce a blue-green flame in a flame test. So this is the correct answer, B. Let's move on to question number 19. Which reaction is endothermic? Which reaction is endothermic? Is it A, carbon dioxide gas changing into solid carbon dioxide? Is it B, freezing of water? Is it C, photosynthesis in a leaf? Or is it D, rusting of iron? We want which reaction is endothermic. The correct answer is definitely going to be C, photosynthesis in a leaf. Photosynthesis is endothermic because it absorbs energy from sunlight to make glucose. So photosynthesis is endothermic. That's the correct answer right there. Let's move on to question number 20, and it says zinc was reacted with dilute hydrochloric acid to produce a gas. This gas was collected in a test tube and tested with a lighted splint. A popping sound occurred with the lidded splint. Which gas does this test identify? Is it carbon dioxide, chlorine, hydrogen, or oxygen? So we have a popping sound occurring, right? And we also have a lidded splint, right? So what gas do we have, right? What gas can we identify? So they give us the hint. And so what gas are we identifying here? The correct answer is definitely going to be hydrogen, because hydrogen is identified because it produces a popping sound when tested with a lidded splint. So that popping sound is because of hydrogen, right? So hydrogen is going to be identified here. Let's move on to question number 21, and it says hydrogen peroxide decomposes to produce oxygen. A catalyst can increase the rate of this reaction because catalyst speeds up the rate of reactions. In an experiment, equal volumes of hydrogen peroxide were mixed with equal masses of 4 catalysts. The table shows the amount of oxygen released at various times when each catalyst was added. Which one of these catalysts was the most efficient catalyst? Again, which one was the most efficient catalyst? Is it A? So we have the volume of oxygen release per centimeter cube, and we have the time, right? So we have 2 centimeter cube of oxygen release in 10 seconds, We have 4 centimeter cube of oxygen release in 20 seconds. We have 8 centimeter cube of oxygen release in 30 seconds. And we have 9 centimeter cube of oxygen release in 40 seconds. So in which one of these we have the catalyst being the most efficient? Well, the correct answer is definitely going to be C, because remember, we're looking for the most efficient one. And so let's perform the calculations. If we look at A, so we're trying to find the rate of the reaction. And in order for us to find the rate of the reaction, all we need to do is take this number and divide it with this number. So we say 2 divided by 10, because we're trying to find the rate, right? So 2 divided by 10 gives us 0.20 centimeter cube, right, per second, right? So that is for catalyst A. Then we go to catalyst B, we do 4 divided by 20, and 4 divided by 20 is 0.20 centimeter cube per second. So that means that these two have the same rate. A and B have the same rate, right? So let's go to C. We do 8 divided by 30, and 8 divided by 30 gives us 0.27 centimeter cube per second. So that means that this rate, 0.27, is the fastest so far. Now let's do 9 divided by 40. Well, 9 divided by 40 is 0.23 centimeter cube. So the fastest rate that we have is 0.27 centimeter cube per second. All right, whereas this one is 0.23 centimeter cube per second. The highest one is 0.27 centimeter cube per second, right? And it's faster than A, it's faster than B, and it's faster than D, right? Because A and B, both of them is 0.20 centimeter cube per second. Both of them is 0.20 centimeter cube per second, but C is 0.27 centimeter cube per second. So the rate is faster. So since catalyst C has the highest rate, it is the most efficient. So the correct answer is definitely going to be C. Let's move on to question number 22, and it says, which equipment or substance can be used to test for the gas produced when ammonium nitrate, NH4NO3, is heated with sodium hydroxide, NaOH? So is it going to be aqueous ammonia, glowing splint, lime water, or moist red litmus paper? The correct answer is definitely going to be D, moist red litmus paper, because when ammonium nitrate is heated, remember we're heating the ammonium nitrate, we're going to heat it, right? When ammonium nitrate is heated with sodium hydroxide, ammonia gas is produced. That is the gas that's going to be produced. Now ammonia, that is an alkaline gas, and this alkaline gas turns moist red litmus paper blue. So moist red litmus paper is used to test for the gas. So the correct answer is definitely going to be D, moist red litmus paper. Let's move on to question number 23, and it says magnesium burns in oxygen with a bright white light. The balanced chemical equation for the reaction is written as shown. So we have 2Mg plus O2 that produces 2MgO. Which statement is true about the reaction? Is it A, magnesium is oxidized because it loses electrons? B, magnesium reacting with oxygen is a physical change? C, magnesium reacts with oxygen to form a black solid? D, oxygen is reduced because it loses electrons. The correct answer is definitely going to be A, magnesium is oxidized because it loses electrons. So here we have magnesium being oxidized and oxygen being reduced. So magnesium is oxidized, but oxygen is reduced. And so it says magnesium is oxidized because it loses electrons during the reaction with oxygen. Each magnesium atom loses 2 electrons to form Mg2 plus ions. So it loses electrons, it is oxidized. Then we have oxygen. Oxygen gains these electrons to form oxide ions, which means oxygen is reduced. So it gains electrons, and so therefore it is reduced. All right. So magnesium is oxidized, but oxygen is reduced. Let's move on to question number 24, and it says zinc is less reactive than magnesium. Which statement confirms this? Again, zinc is less reactive than magnesium. Which statement confirms this? Is it A, magnesium can displace zinc ions from zinc compounds? B, magnesium is lower than zinc in the reactivity series of metals? C. Zinc can displace magnesium ions from magnesium compounds. Or D. Zinc is more easily oxidized than magnesium. If we say that zinc is less reactive than magnesium, what does this mean? Which statement confirms this? But the correct answer is definitely going to be A. Magnesium can displace zinc ions from zinc compounds, because it can. Magnesium can displace zinc ions from zinc compounds, showing that magnesium is more reactive than zinc. And if magnesium is more reactive than zinc, then that means that zinc is less reactive than magnesium. So the correct answer is definitely going to be A. Let's move on to question number 25. And it says, which causes the rate of a chemical reaction to be increased? Is it A, decreasing the concentration of mass, decreasing the concentration of reactants? Let's say it again. What causes the rate of a chemical reaction to be increased? Is it A, decreasing the concentration of reactants, B, decreasing the reaction temperature, C, increasing the surface area of the reactants, or D, removing a catalyst? Again, we're trying to figure out what causes the rate of a chemical reaction to go up, to increase. The correct answer is definitely going to be C, increasing the surface area of the reactants, because increasing the surface area of the reactants increases the frequency of collisions. So we have more collisions, right, happening more frequently, which increases the rate or how fast the reaction takes place. So increasing the surface area of the reactants increases the frequency of collisions, which increases the rate of the reaction. So the correct answer is definitely going to be C. Question number 26. What is formed from 48 grams of oxygen combined with 6 grams of hydrogen? Which mass of oxygen combines with 2 grams of hydrogen? Is it A, 12 grams, B, 16 grams, C, 48 grams, or D, 96 grams? The correct answer is definitely going to be B, 16 grams, because if you notice, we have oxygen to hydrogen. So we have 48 grams of oxygen, because it says 48 grams here, 48 grams of oxygen, 48 grams of oxygen, and we have 6 grams of hydrogen, again 6 grams of hydrogen. So the ratio of oxygen to hydrogen is 48 to 6. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide both sides of this, we're going to divide both sides by 3. And so 6 divided by 3, well, that gives us 2, and 48 divided by 3, well, that gives us 16. So, which mass of oxygen combines with 2 grams of hydrogen? Based on this ratio, it's going to be 16, right? Because when hydrogen is 2 grams, oxygen is 16 grams. So the answer here is B. Since 48 grams of oxygen reacts with 6 grams of hydrogen, dividing both by 3 shows that 16 grams of oxygen reacts with 2 grams of hydrogen. So the correct answer, or the correct mass, is going to be 16 grams, which is B. Let's move on to question number 27, and it says, which group of the periodic table contains a non-metal conductor? Is it IV, which is 4? Is it V, which is 5? Is it C, which is C, which is VI, and VI is 6? Or is it D, which is VII, and VII is 7? So is it 4, 5, 6, or 7? The correct answer is definitely going to be A, which is 4, because group 4 or group IV contains carbon. Now, if we have carbon in the form of graphite, that is a non-metal that can conduct electricity. So again, group 4 contains carbon, which in the form of graphite is a non-metal that can conduct electricity. So the correct answer is definitely going to be A, group 4. Let's move on to question number 28, and it says, which statement about elements in group 1 is correct? Is it A, hydrogen is evolved when they react with water? B, ions of group 1 elements have a -1 charge? C, sodium is more reactive than potassium? D, solid sodium is a poor conductor of electricity? The correct answer is definitely going to be A, hydrogen is evolved when they react with water, because hydrogen is evolved when group 1 elements react with water, forming a metal hydroxide and hydrogen gas. So the correct answer is definitely going to be A, because when we have group 1 elements, when we have group 1 elements reacting with water, hydrogen is evolved. Because it says here hydrogen is evolved when group 1 elements react with water, and what is formed? We have metal hydroxide and hydrogen gas. Okay, so let's move on to question number 29, and it says G is a monoatomic, or I could say G is a monatomic gas. Yeah, G is a monatomic gas. Which statement about G, this monatomic gas, is correct? Is it A, it burns in air, B, it is colored, C, it is unreactive, or D, it has the electronic configuration 2,6? So which is correct? The correct answer is definitely going to be C. It is unreactive, because a monatomic gas is a noble gas, and noble gases are unreactive. So the correct answer is definitely going to be C. It is unreactive. Let's move on to question number 30, and it says which metal reacts with steam but not with water? Is it calcium, potassium, sodium, or zinc? The correct answer is definitely going to be D, zinc, because zinc reacts with steam when heated but does not react with water, unlike calcium, sodium, and potassium, which react with water. So the correct answer is definitely going to be D, zinc. Let's move on to question number 31, and it says which nitrate decomposes with heat to produce oxygen and a nitrite? Is it A, calcium nitrate, B, copper nitrate, C, magnesium nitrate, or D, potassium nitrate? The correct answer is definitely going to be D, potassium nitrate, because potassium nitrate decomposes on heating to form potassium nitrite and oxygen, unlike other metal nitrates which form metal oxides. So here the answer is going to be D, potassium nitrate. Let's move on to question number 32, and it says methyl L reacts with an acid. The reaction is slow at first, so it's going to be slow at first, and then very vigorous. Which element is metal L? Is it A, aluminum, B, calcium, C, lithium, or D, magnesium? The correct answer is definitely going to be A, aluminum, because aluminum reacts slowly at first because it has a protective oxide layer. Then it reacts vigorously once the layer is broken down by the acid. So the correct answer is definitely going to be A, aluminum. Let's move on to question number 33, and it says metal M does not react with an acid, but its metal oxide reacts with acids. Which element is metal M? Is it copper, iron, sodium, or zinc? Now the correct answer is definitely going to be A, copper, because copper does not react with acids, but its metal oxide, copper oxide, reacts with acids to form salt and water. So the correct answer is definitely going to be A, copper. Let's move on to question number 34. And question 34 and 35 are based on the following processes: contact, electrolysis, Haber, and reduction. Question number 34 says, which process is used in the extraction of iron? Is it contact, electrolysis, Haber, or reduction? So we're talking about extraction of iron, and the correct answer is definitely going to be D. D. Iron is extracted from its ore by reduction, where oxygen is moved, or we could say oxygen is removed from iron oxide using carbon or carbon monoxide. So the process used in the extraction of iron is definitely going to be D, reduction. Let's move on to question number 35, and it says we're still looking at these four processes: contact, electrolysis, Haber, and reduction, and they're saying which process is used to manufacture sulfuric acid? Is it A, B, C, or D? The correct answer is definitely going to be A, because sulfuric acid is manufactured using the contact process. That's A, which converts sulfur dioxide into sulfur trioxide before forming sulfuric acid. So the correct answer is definitely going to be A. It's definitely going to be A, contact, the contact process. Let's move on to question number 36, and we have cryolite. Cryolite is an important chemical in the extraction of which element? Aluminum, calcium, copper, or magnesium? Which element, aluminum, calcium, copper, or magnesium, is it going to be? Well, the correct answer is definitely going to be aluminum because cryolite is used in the extraction of aluminum. But why would we use cryolite? Because it lowers the melting point of aluminum oxide, which makes electrolysis more efficient. So cryolite is used in the extraction of aluminum. Let's move on to question number 37. It says, which salt is acidic? Is it AgCl, CaCl2, MgSO4, 7H2O, or NaHSO4? Which salt is acidic? Well, the correct answer is definitely going to be D. And NaHSO4 is acidic because it contains the hydrogen sulfate ion. Now, hydrogen sulfate ion, what do you think it's going to release? It's going to release hydrogen ions. Now, hydrogen ions helps with acidity, right? So if you have hydrogen ions, it's going to be acidic, right? And we have NaH is acidic because it contains hydrogen sulfate ion, which can release hydrogen ions, or H+, when dissolved in water. The presence of hydrogen ions increases the acidity of a solution by lowering its pH. So which salt is going to be acidic? It's definitely going to be D, NaHSO4. Let's move on to question number 38, and it says, which gas is produced when sulfuric acid reacts with copper? Is it H2, H2O, SO2, or SO3? Well, the correct answer is definitely going to be CSO2 because sulfur dioxide is produced because copper reduces sulfuric acid. The sulfur in sulfuric acid is reduced from oxidation state +6 to +4 to form SO2. Therefore, hydrogen gas is not produced. So the correct answer is definitely going to be SO2C. Let's move on to question number 39, and it says, the tests shown are performed on salt W. So you have salt W, we have this blue solution, and we have few drops of NH3, and we have a blue precipitate. Then we have here, coming from the same salt W, we have few drops of BaCl2, and then we have the white precipitate. And the question says, which is salt W? So we have to try to identify what salt W is. Is it going to be copper 2 carbonate, copper 2 sulfate, iron 2 carbonate, or iron 2 sulfate? The correct answer is definitely going to be B, copper 2 sulfate. Why do we say that? Because they give us hints all through this, right? They give us hints. Few drops of NH3, we get a blue precipitate. Few drops of BaCl2, we get the white precipitate. These are hints, right? So copper 2 sulfate is identified because the blue solution and a blue precipitate with ammonia, NaH3, indicate the presence of Cu2+ ions, or copper 2 ions, right? So we have the blue precipitate with ammonia. We have, notice it says copper 2 sulfate is identified because the blue solution and blue precipitate with ammonia, NH3, indicate the presence of copper 2 ions. So we have copper 2 ions. But how about our sulfate ions? Well, the formation of white precipitate, so we have white precipitate here, with barium chloride, BaCl2, confirms the presence of what? Sulfate ions. Therefore, W is a salt. And what salt is it? It's copper 2 sulfate, CuSO4. And that's because we have what? We have the copper 2 ions, and we also have the sulfate ions. We have that because we have the blue precipitate, and we have that because we have the white precipitate. All right? And these are hints to help us to identify that, hey, this is definitely copper 2 sulfate that we're dealing with. Let's move on to question number 40, and it says, what is the functional group of the alcohol series? Is it alkyl group, carboxyl group, hydroxide group, or hydroxyl group? The correct answer is definitely going to be D, hydroxyl group. The alcohol series contains the hydroxyl OH functional group attached to a carbon atom. So the correct answer is definitely going to be D, hydroxyl group. Let's move on to question number 41, and it says natural gas, methane, is burned in air. Again, natural gas, or methane, is burned in air. Which one of the gases will be produced when there's plenty of oxygen gas available? Is it carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, or sulfur monoxide. Again, natural gas methane is burned in air. Which gas will be produced when there's plenty of oxygen gas available? Well, the correct answer is definitely going to be A, carbon dioxide, because carbon dioxide is produced because the methane undergoes complete combustion when there's plenty of oxygen available. So carbon dioxide is going to be produced here. Next, we have number 42, and it says, which substance has the largest number of nitrogen atoms? So which one or all these have the largest number of nitrogen atoms? The correct answer is definitely going to be B. This is NH4, and this whole thing 3, and PO4. Now we know that because let's look at the number of nitrogen atoms in each of them. So let's first look at A. We have nitrogen here, that's 1. We have also nitrogen here, that is 2. So for A, we have 2 nitrogen atoms, 1 in NH4 plus and 1 in NaO3. So again, 1 here and 1 here. So that means we have 2 altogether. Let's look at B. Well, B has 3 nitrogen atoms, because if you look here, you see this 3 here. This 3 refers to not only the N, but the 3 also applies to the H4. So that means that we're going to take 3 and we're going to multiply it by 1 because there's 1 nitrogen. So that means that we have 3 times 1. That means that we have what? 3 nitrogen atoms. 1 in each NH4 plus. So we have 3 because we have the 3 over there. This 3 the subscript 3 means that, hey, we have 3 of these N's. All right, so nitrogen is here 3 times. Now let's look at this one. We only have nitrogen once. And let's look at D. D doesn't have nitrogen at all. And so the correct answer is definitely going to be B, because that has 3 nitrogen atoms. This NH4 3PO4 has 3 nitrogen atoms, which is more than any of the other substances listed. So that's the correct answer here. Let's move on to question number 43, and it says, what is the formula of a saturated straight chain hydrocarbon with 12 carbon atoms, given that the formula for this type of hydrocarbon is CnH2 plus N? But this one is easy because all we need to do is look at the formula. So the formula that we have is Cn, that's the general formula, CnH2n plus 2, where N is 12. So that means that wherever we see N, and we're going to put 12. So we see N here. So that means that N is attached to the C. We see N here. So that means that N is 12. So that means that we have what? C12. C12. That's why this says C12, right? C12. Then we have H. If we look at our H, we have 2N plus 2. Again, 2N plus 2. So what is N? Well, N is 12. So whenever we see N, we're going to put 12. So we have 2N, or 2 times 12 plus 2. Now, what is 2 times 12? Well, 2 times 12 is 24. 24 plus 2. 24 plus 2 is going to be 28. So that means that what we have that C12 because Cn, and we have H26. H26 because we got 26 here. Again, C12, H26. And that's how we do it. All we need to do is substitute. Let's move on to question number 44, and it says a group VII, or a group 7 element reacts with water. It creates an acidic solution. When the solution produced, it is tested with blue litmus paper. It turns red, then bleaches it white. Which group 7 element causes this reaction? So they give us some hints, right? We have that solution is tested with blue litmus paper, and then it turns red. And we have that it bleaches it, right? So what element are we talking about? Is it going to be bromine, chlorine, fluorine, or iodine? The correct answer is definitely going to be chlorine, because chlorine reacts with water to form an acidic solution. So we have an acidic solution. So what's going to happen with it when we apply litmus paper to it? Well, it's going to turn blue litmus paper red because we're talking about an acidic solution. The solution then bleaches the litmus paper white due to the formation of chlorine water. And chlorine water is a bleaching agent. This bleaching effect is characteristic of chlorine. So the correct answer is definitely going to be B, chlorine. Let's move on to question number 45, and it says which set of cations, again, which set of cations are responsible for hardness in well water? Is it Ca2 plus Mg2 plus, Ca2 plus Na plus, K plus Ca2 plus, or K plus and Mg2 plus? So is it going to be these two, Ca2 plus and Mg2 plus, Ca2 plus and Na plus, K plus and Ca2 plus, or K plus and Mg2 plus? Which one is responsible for the hardness in well water? The correct answer is definitely going to be A, because hardness in well water is caused by the presence of calcium ions, Ca2 plus, and magnesium ions, Mg2 plus. So that's the correct answer here. Let's move on to question number 46, and it says which compound has atoms that are ionically bonded? Is it carbon monoxide, is it carbon monoxide, magnesium chloride, nitrogen dioxide, or sulfur trioxide? The correct answer is definitely going to be B, because we're talking about ionically bonded. Magnesium chloride has ionic bonding because magnesium transfers electrons to chlorine to form Mg2 plus and Cl negative ions. So we have ionic bonding with magnesium chloride. Notice that ionic bonding happens between metals and non-metals. All right, so we have ionic bonding here, and what happens is the magnesium transfers electrons to the chlorine to form Mg2 plus and Cl negative ions. So we have ionic bonding here. Let's move on to question number 47, and it says methane reacts with bromine in the presence of ultraviolet light. Which kind of reaction is taking place? Is it addition reaction, combustion reaction, polymerization, or substitution reaction? What kind of reaction is taking place? Well, the correct answer is definitely going to be a substitution reaction. And why is it substitution? It's a substitution reaction because bromine atoms replaces or substitutes hydrogen atoms in methane under ultraviolet light. So the correct answer is definitely going to be D, substitution. We're looking at a substitution kind of reaction. Let's move on to question number 48, and it says which of the elements shown is most abundant in fossil fuels? Is it A, carbon, B, fluorine, C, nitrogen, or D, oxygen? Well, the correct answer is definitely going to be A, carbon, because carbon is the most abundant element in fossil fuels, because coal, oil, and natural gas are mainly made of carbon-based compounds. So if we're talking about fossil fuels, we're dealing with carbon, because carbon is the most abundant element, I should say, in fossil fuels. Right? Because stuff like coal, oil, natural gas are mainly made of carbon-based compounds. So the correct answer is definitely going to be A, carbon. Let's move on to question number 49, and they said aspirin is used as a pain reliever. Its chemical formula is shown here. So here we have the chemical formula of aspirin, the pain reliever. Based on the structural formula, which is homologous series. So it says based on the structural formula, which homologous series does this drug belong to? Is it alcohol, alkene, alkane, or carboxylic acid? Again, based on this structural formula, so we have the structural formula of aspirin, which homologous series does this drug belong to? Alcohol, alkene, or carboxylic acid? Well, the correct answer is definitely going to be carboxylic acid, because the structure contains a what? COOH group. So the drug belongs to carboxylic acid homologous series. Okay, last question. Question number 50. It says, which is a benefit, or what is a benefit of recycling metals? Is it A, increase in electrical costs, B, increase in air pollution, C, increase in job opportunities, or D, increase in use of landfills? Here we're looking for a benefit, right? Increase in electrical costs, that's not a benefit. Increase in air pollution, that's not a benefit. Neither is increase in use of landfills a benefit. The benefit here is going to be increase in job opportunities. But how are we going to get these job opportunities? Well, recycling metals create employment in collection, processing and manufacturing industries. So the correct answer is definitely going to be C, increase in job opportunities. Okay, that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everyone. See you soon.